What's up, everyone? We're going to continue on with our Scorpion, our 1980 Williams Scorpion. As you can see, the board set's out. So that's what we're going to be working on today in this part, is we're going to get that board set up and running. What was going on is, at first it did boot for me, and then it went black on me again, just like it did the first time I was working on this. So we have to dive back into the MPU and see what the heck is going on and what we need to do. And I have a pretty good idea after getting it back out and looking at it some more. I still have my stuff that I had from the last time we were working on it. I keep all this stuff in a binder. These are all the schematics I printed out that I was working on. We'll be using probably this one later on. That's the driver board, sheet 1 of 2. This has our strobes and our columns on it, and our PIA is IC10. That's the one that runs our lamps and the strobes for the lamps. This is a breakdown of or drawing, I should say, of the driver board. And there's a driver board. This is 2 of 2, and this is the other part of it. Some of this is cut off. I don't have the whole sheet here, but I'm thinking I have the whole sheet. We have everything we need here. Nope, there's IC11. That's the let's see, 9, that's the switches. 11 is switches, and that's our IC10 is our lamps, which here's our driver board. We have solenoid PIA. I'll get that down. Solenoid PIA. Here's our lamp PIA. You can see I've already changed it. And that's our switch PIA up top there. This is our lamps. This connector here, which I think is J5, 2J5, is our strobes. And power. And then we have our, let's see, I don't know. All I know is this is the one that we'll be concentrating on here. And that is, I think, right up through here is our strobes and everything. So we'll be working all through here, maybe, to get those strobes working again, and we have some lights out. But that could be something totally different, because once I got the MPU out and started looking at it and started cleaning chips, I noticed, yep, the dreaded Scamby sockets. The CPU has a good socket in it, so we don't have to worry about that. But these 4 Scambies, these are the ones we use. These are our ROMs, and that's another, is that the RAM chip? There's the 5101. Anyway, we have to change these 4 sockets before we even worry about making sure everything's going to boot up. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to sit down and I'm going to change out these 4 sockets with good sockets, so we know we have good connection through our ROMs. And I'm drawing a blank right now as to what that is. These 2 are the same. You can see this one already has a machine socket already put in it, so we don't have to worry about that one or the NVRAM. So we got to change these 4 Scambies. Those are the ones that are always a problem on these. If you run into having a problem and you have Scamby sockets, first thing to do is replace them. Okay, I'm going to get busy and get started on replacing those sockets. Alright, we got all 4 of them removed. Come out good. They come off pretty easy. You have your ground legs here. Those ones are a little bit of a pain to. You got to use quite a bit of heat to get those few pins up off of there, because you have such a large area that you're heating up around that pin to try and suck the solder out of it. And there's the dreaded scambies. You know it's bad when you get them unsoldered and you try and lift them up a little bit and they bust up. The pins are actually molded. No, not really molded. They're kind of capped off with this bottom piece. Man, talk about crap. So I heard some horror stories about these, and when I seen them on there, it's like, yep, I didn't do it the last time. It's getting done this time. See if we can't make this board a little more reliable. Like I said, there's no acid damage on it. Battery holders was still in good shape. A little bit down there on that one. I should remove that, but we'll see. And here's the new ones that are going back in. But like I said, there was no acid damage on this board, so this board's in really good shape. Just get everything all squared away on it and it'll be good. The CPU, like I said, has a good one on it. These are, I think, gold plated pins. They're in that. Same with this machine socket. That one's gold too. I don't have money for those, so we're using double wipe. Double wipe? One. There. I have these double wipe. They grab from both sides of the pin. So we should be in good shape with those. These 3 we're not using, so I'm not worried about those 3. They can sit up there and be old scambies all they want. But the rest, the other ones that we need, those ones we're changing. Okay, I'm going to get those soldered in. And I'll bring you back once I get those all soldered in, the chips put back in, and maybe we'll get this hooked up and see what our lights do now. When it was in the machine, those were just solid. And they're supposed to flash once and then stay off, meaning that that the board supposedly has booted. But on the Williams, these aren't real reliable. So let's get these replaced, get the sockets in it, and we'll see what we got going on after that. Alright, we got the sockets all replaced. Those 4. Those were the ones that were, those were the ones that were scambies. They were just like that. And if you're wondering what scambies look like, that's a scamby. Scamby socket. So if you ever run into those that are being used, make sure you change those. If you look it up, everybody tells you to. Oh, shoot. My power supply is not plugged in. Hold on a sec. There we go. Okay, now we can hook up our bench power supply. This is pin 1. That's 12 volts. Ground is right down here in the corner. I usually try and... That's pin 10. And our 5 volts, which I have my logic probe hooked to, is pin 9. is 5 volts. And our logic probe ground, we're just going to ground it right here on the board. Alright, now when we turn this on, our light should flash once and then stay off. And that is an indication that maybe you're board booted. The diagnostics on this aren't the greatest. You could have the one flash and it goes off, but you could still have a problem with one of your ROMs. Excuse me, not sending all the information down to where it's supposed to. It could have a bad ROM, but it'll still only flash once and stay off. When it was in the machine, all it was doing was a solid. It'd come on and stay on. And when I put it out on the bench, I tested it, and it was the same thing. So that's when I started getting into it and cleaning all our chips. And then when I pulled these 4 chips, I noticed that we had Scambi chip sockets in it, so we changed those. I don't know why I didn't change them the last time. But let's turn the power on. One flash, and it goes out. Now, that could be an indication that our board booted. But who knows? So let's see. That's high. So we do have voltage there, nothing, nothing, nothing. We have a pulse, 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 pulse. Ooh. Jeez. So it looks like we do have information being sent down to our driver board. And that's just voltage. Just voltage. There's a signal, 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 voltage, signal, 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 signal. Okay. Man, don't you hate it when you get a dry patch? Nothing. Low. Low. Those could be our grounds. Those are our grounds, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, so we do have, looks like we do have signals coming down from our MPU down to our driver board. I'm going to get parked here in my chair. Okay, and this is our lights, PIA. That's for our columns and our strobes and everything else that is run by, that runs lights, that needs lights. And that's this area right here. Now, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure this is our strobes, is over in this area, and this will be just our lamps and columns over here. Because this is J5, that's our strobes, and J7, that's our columns. That's our power coming out, and the other two are ground returns. Those two are ground returns. So we should have, if that PIA is working and everything else is working down through here, we should have a signal here, and we don't. See, we have absolutely nothing. Low, 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 low. Now, the other thing is I'm not sure if you need the ground return in order for everything to send the signal down through. That's what I'm not totally familiar with. So we have nothing down there, but let's see if we should have signal into our PIAs, which we do. So on the other side, that's our signal coming in. This should be our signals coming out. This top half, or let's see, I think pin 10 I know is strobe 1. So we got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And see, we just have a low. Now, does that mean our PIA is bad? Or do we actually have to have everything hooked up? I am going to hunt down another PIA, a known good one, and change that out, and we'll go from there and see if anything changes. Okay, I replaced that PIA with a known good one, and we still have the same problem. Now, as I was digging into this some more, I got to thinking about it, and this pin right here, test point 4, is our blanking signal. Now what did change though is when you press the test button, or the reset button, it still doesn't do nothing. Flash. That should mean that the board has booted, and then we should push this, and now see the bottom comes on, stays on, meaning we have a ROM failure. But I have tested all those ROMs. I have signals going in and coming out of them. Like I said, the test feature on these Williams diagnostic is just not good at best. But if it's booting, and see, I've moved that, it's still coming on. Okay, but if we can, that comes on, flashes, and see the bottom ROM, telling us that we have a ROM problem, that one of our ROMs has failed. Let it boot for a minute. I might be pushing it too quick. Nope, see, we still have a ROM failure. But I have a couple of ideas as to what might be going on. Okay, anyway, the test point 4 is our blanking circuit. This should be high and it's low. Blanking circuit all goes through this 74 LSO2 chip right here. And if you flip the board over, you can see it's got acid damage on it. So we're going to change it, and I'm going to pull it apart. I think I'm going to go ahead and change the male side of this as well. I didn't last time. I have the new females, but I didn't have the males. Now I do. I'm going to go ahead and change them out as well. We're going to change this chip and get the board cleaned up. And hopefully then everything's going to boot like it should. Down here, this is our blanking circuit here on this very last resistor. But you have to have it on the MPU, and then it runs down through and comes down to here. So if the blanking circuit's not working, it's not going to trigger anything. And see, now the board's locked up. So we have intermittent problems, and let's change this out first and see what happens and get that cleaned up. Here, I finished up. I got the new, see, I got it connected, but I got new male connectors across with the 40 pin. Changed the LS, or the 74 LSO2, that's our blanking, part of our blanking circuit. Remove the battery holder. Let's see, what else did I do? Well, we put new sockets on. Put 4 new sockets because they were the scambies. And now, let me see if I can... Test point 4, single flash, stays out, and now we have our blanking circuit back. There, and the top of R37, right there is our blanking circuit going down to our driver board. And that's running as well. But I still don't have any... There it is. Yep. That's strobing. Yep. All of our strobes are working. Now, the only thing we have to do is put it in the machine and see what happens. It should boot and go into a track mode and work. So I'll get this installed and bring you back. We'll turn it on and see what happens. All installed, and let's see what we got now. And there she is. Back up and running. Got one light bulb out there. That's right where I was working around the drop targets. I probably got it loosened up. Still, our strobes were strobing. So I'm thinking the 10 and the special, you know, that some of them don't strobe. But you see, we did get all of our lights back here. I did change that PIA, put a different PIA in it, so that could very well have taken care of some of that as well. I'm not going to coin it up yet because I still got our drop target bank to put in. That'll be in our next video. And we'll work through the putting the drop target bank in, and we'll work through getting our second player going again too. Update. Got the board set in. I didn't power it up long enough, I guess, on the workbench. After about 5 minutes, it'll go bonk, and just like that, you heard that, and then go black on me. And sometimes the flippers will jump, and and if you turn it off and let it set for a few minutes and turn it back on, I didn't, but if you turn it off, leave it off for a little bit, turn it back on, it'll come back up and run for about 2, 3, 4 minutes, and then it'll do the same thing. Sometimes the flippers will jump, it'll go bonk and then go black. It's really acting weird, but I'm not sure if it's in the MPU or if it's in the driver board, because the driver board and the MPU have to be connected at all times or it will not boot. Let me open the door. I may have left it on too long. So I'm thinking something is heating up on either the MPU or the driver board and knocking out the blanking circuit, because I checked the blanking circuit and it's not up and running. And the longer you let it sit, the longer it takes for it to come back on. I think something is heating up, but like I said, I'm not sure if it's on the MPU or if it's on the driver board. Those both have to be connected in order for the MPU to boot. It has to find everything on the driver board before it'll boot. So I have the luxury of having a lot of driver boards for the Williams. So what I am going to do is to narrow this down to either the driver board or the MPU. I am going to rework another driver board and plug it in and see what happens, and see if it comes up and stays up. Now this one, I want a good extra driver board anyway, because it's nice to have an extra one working, so if it's over in the arcade and it does puke out, you can just take the spare over, put it in, and you're back up and running, bring the other one back and rework it. And then it's not down. So I'm going to rework this one. This one I picked for the simple fact is it's got 3 machine sockets for the PIAs, which are no cheap date. And there's only a few transistors missing on this one, or MOSFETs, for the drivers and the special and our lights. So I can get this one all squared away and we can plug that one in and see if it does the same thing. If it does the same thing, then we know we have a problem on our MPU, and it could very well be the ROM set. Well, I have three more Williams System 6 MPUs, extras. This one has a Scambi socket for the CPU, which we can change that out, and the PIA is missing. This is a good looking board. Blanking circuit's missing here. So that one is a possibility that we can, I'll change that, got if I use this one. And there's one here that I really like, this one. This is a really nice clean board. Missing quite a few chips, on it, but it is a good looking board. There's no acid damage on it. I don't know what the jumper's for. I'll look at that and see what that jumper's for. Blanking circuit chips present. That's a 74 LSO2. Here's our blanking circuits. The jumper's in the right spot. Missing one chip up here in the reset section. But, you know, I have those to pull stuff off of and build this one, if we determine that it's the MPU. Plus, I have an extra set of ROMs for laser ball. So what's nice is I can leave it on the bench and I can put laser ball ROM set in it and see if that boots it. You know, I could do it to mine, but I feel like doing some board work today, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do some board work and do a little investigating, some little Sherlock Holmes. One of these things is not like the other. So we'll build this one and put it in and see if that cures our problem. If it does, then we know we have a problem on our driver board and we can start looking at it. Looking at just the driver board and not worrying about the MPU, because the MPU is working. But we put this in, it does the same thing, and the MPU does it. Then we're going to build an MPU and see if that takes care of it. Like I said, I'll use a laser ball ROM set with, I'll put together here on the bench, and if it boots and stays booted, okay, good. Then what we'll do is we'll pull the ROM set off a Scorpion and put it in and see if it boots and stays booted. That way we can eliminate that we have a bad ROM. You know, I'm kind of... But anyway, let's get started. I'm going to get this reworked and get it ready to put in Scorpion and see if we can't get Scorpion up and running for sure this time. We got... Put in the new header. 40 pin female. Replaced all the busted MOSFETs here, got a little bent, and a couple in here. Cleaned up all of our connectors, reflowed. Like I said, this one's in good shape too. There's only a little bit of heat damage right there. It'll be right in this little area here. So it's pretty good. This is a pretty good driver board. Hopefully we'll see if it works. Hopefully this one does and takes care of the problem. Then we know we have to dig into that driver board a little more. The one that's in the machine. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the old one and leave everything in the machine and go ahead and put this one in instead of removing the MPU and everything. They're kind of a pain to take out, but you know, you got all your terminals, but the biggest thing is that 40 pin. That's the one that's usually a pain in the butt to get separated off of the driver board. Yep, we've got 3 PIAs in it. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to swap them out and see what happens. Okay, got it in. And let's see what happens. One flash and goes out, and it booted right up. No screwing around. Still got some weird stuff going on here. There we go, come on. Wonder if I got a master display going bad. Alright, now she booted up, she's in track mode. with that driver board. And everything's still the same as far as our lights go. 5's out today. Yeah, the 10 is not strobing, and neither is the special. And the 1 here, and the 50,000. So I think that's what it's supposed to do, because it did it on the other driver board as well. And not letting any smoke out, which is always a plus. Everything looks good in there. I don't smell anything funky. Or, yeah, well, I do, but that's just me. Okay, I'm gonna let this sit for a while in a track mode and see if it stays on. Usually it's about 5 minutes of it being on, and then it craps out. Well, I do believe we got it. It's been sitting here in a track mode now for about a half an hour, and no hiccups, no no blurps, bleeps, or anything. It's doing what it's supposed to do, which is good. Now on this other driver board, I'm kind of thinking that maybe we have a bad solenoid PIA intermittent, because when it would kick out, it would trip the flipper relay. That's different. And it only does it, on the flippers. So that's why I'm kind of thinking that maybe this PIA is going bad, or is bad, but it's still letting it boot. But after it heats up a little bit, it trips the flipper relay. What gives with you? Wonder if I have a switch that's... I don't know if that's part of the track mode or not. That's interesting. Acts like one of the switches. But it doesn't do it all the time. I was kind of questioning that PIA. All right, and something else to look into. I'm going to change that PIA for the switches and see if that takes care of that problem. I have a good one. We know this one's good because our lights were working on this board. So let's do that and see what happens. Alright, that took care of it. I don't know if that's what it was or if it was just when I changed the PIA I flexed the board a little bit and took care of it. Now I did put 4 credits on it, and she's not going into gameplay, so that's another issue that we'll have to work through in the next one. Next video we're going to work through that and work through our displays and get our drop target bank put in and start getting this all buttoned up and ready to go. I'm sure we just have a switch. Either got a switch smashed for the ball, you know, ball's not sitting on it properly or something, I don't know. But we'll work through that, and hopefully we'll get that taken care of. Well, we will get that taken care of. So that's going to do it for this video. And I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. And don't forget about my affiliate links and my merch page in the description. If you need anything or want anything, take a look. I should have another new one up on there, maybe 2 down below in my description, so take a look at the new ones that I put on. And if you like the video, hit the like button. That sure helps out the channel. That doesn't cost you a dime. And it shows the algorithm that you're enjoying my videos. So I hope to see you on the next one. Until then, take care. See ya.